There's nothing like Minnesota high school football. Football nights are special. It's about the players, the fans, let's go! The communities. Prep Preview is here to set the stage each week. Dig into the key rivalries, the unique stories, the players to watch, and break down what it all means. The CARE TV Prep Preview on YouTube starts now. Hi everybody, this is Prep Preview Show for YouTube. I'm Randy Shaver along with Mr. Craig Norkus, and we're going to dive into Minnesota high school football week number 2. We're going to talk about games that are scheduled to be played September 7th, 8th, and 9th. And thanks for joining us. We do have a lot to discuss this week.
I feel beguiled today.
What does that mean for you?
Beguiled.
Okay, what does that mean for you?
Well, you know, if I'm able to read your mind,
oh, God.
Whose mind am I actually reading? Because if I read your mind, as I am now,
yes.
Your mind is in my mind, so I'm technically reading my mind.
Please don't let my mind be in your head.
How about I blow your mind?
Okay.
And my advice is that we get on with the show. Does that blow your mind that may be my last interruption in this show?
Oh my gosh, that would be like the fastest start to this program in a long time.
I blew his mind, which I'm now reading, which is now my mind. Let's go.
Our Spotlight Game's a fabulous 5A matchup. Perennial power Mankato West is now playing Metro teams in the regular season. And on Friday night, September 8th, they're going to travel to Andover to take on the Huskies. Both teams won big last week. The last time Mankato West came to the Metro to play a regular season football game was 1997 at South St. Paul, 26 years ago. I talked with both head coaches, Tom DeVellis of Andover and West head coach J.J. Helgett. We're going to start with J.J.
This is good.
We're returning 16 starters that played at US Bank Stadium in the state championship game last year. So say that going to Andover on week 2 is going to phase them. I don't think so. When you've played in the biggest stage on the biggest field that you can play in, the expectation is the guys are just going to show up and status quo and play football. So we're excited for the opportunity. We're excited to get up to the cities more than just those last 3 games and get that attention and show off what we can do, because we play pretty good football down here. We just reload. We don't actually rebuild, and that's the mindset you have to have. And I think those schools do. The St. Thomas's, the Matamidais, Elk River, Andover, you name it, Rogers. I mean, it's just year after year, these teams are showing up with just good teams. So it's exciting. It's fun. I mean, as media guys, you guys got to love this. You're going to get some premier games, and you get to see the best of the best against each other. So it is exciting for all those other aspects. When the high school league created that kind of dynamics, we're going to take the top tier teams and play each other. Our schedule got pretty tough, which is fine. We'll get through it. We've played in the state championship the last 2 years, and we've seen the toll it takes on you from basically about mid-October to whenever you finish. And so, knowing that that's going to happen every week through the whole season plus playoffs, a little concerning, but at the same point, I think we'll be fine. Our guys want to be the best. In order to be the best, you got to play the best to get there.
Did you know that this is Mankato West's first trip to the Metro for a regular season game in 26 years?
No, did not realize that.
So what kind of matchup should we be seeing on Friday night?
Well, I hope it'll be a good one. It's our home opener, so that's going to be exciting. Kids are back in school, so there's obviously excitement there. But we know that Mankato West coming in is a team that last year were state runner-ups to a really, really good Elk River football team, and the year before they won the state title. So obviously we have some excitement about playing opponents that we haven't played in the past and playing opponents that we think are very high-level teams. But we also, have to make sure we understand that, going into this game, it's game 2. And so for our team, there's going to be a lot of growth that we got to continue to have from last week against St. Thomas Academy. So
it's going to be a great matchup.
Yeah.
The Spotlight game is going to attract a big crowd, too. Mankato West at Andover will have full highlights on KARE 11 News at 10:15 and the Prep Sports Extra. Then, of course, at 11 o'clock on cable, YouTube, KARE11.com, and KARE 11 Plus. So it should be an outstanding night. We will be there. I'm going to go live at 5 and 6 with the head coaches, and you'll be there.
I'll be there, but my observations on hearing those two coaches talk. Let's first start with Mankato West and Coach Helgett. I love how he says, we just reload. We don't rebuild.
Right.
There's a certain boldness to that. We just reload it, but they back it up because they're always in the thick of it at the end. I mean, 3 years ago they were undefeated in the COVID-shortened season. 2 years ago they won the state championship. Last year in the state championship, I'd call that reloading. But when you talk about Andover, to me last year when they played Elk River in the sectional final, that should have been the state championship in my opinion. Right. Those were the two best teams, I thought. And Andover
Mankato West would argue with you.
They'll argue, but Andover only lost to Elk River by 2 points in that game, and Elk River won the state championship. So I have Andover as my number 2 team in 5A this year. My number 1 team we're going to talk about shortly. That's Chanhassen.
Okay. Well, Mankato West obviously will argue with that as well.
Yes,
so
they will.
We will see what happens.
They can prove it to me this Friday.
On Friday night. All right, let's look back a little bit to last week's Spotlight game because it was a really good game. Chanhassen taking on the defending 5A state champion Elk River.
Well, just like, football teams are rusty in week 1. Right. It's kind of, they're not in rhythm yet.
Sure, yeah.
Well, also journalists can be rusty in week 1. So the
I
opening.
hope you're not talking about me.
Well,
I thought I was spot on last week.
Well, that's debatable. I was actually going to admit myself that I was a little rusty in the opening kickoff of that game. Well, I missed it, so I had to draw it.
You missed the opening kickoff.
I had to draw it. Yeah,
you had to draw it?
Yeah, here we go. We got Elk River on the right, kicking off to Chanhassen on the left.
Oh, come on.
Receiving is going to be Carter Bloom is going to kick to Daxon Bush. Look at that.
Okay.
And then Brecken Courage, he runs the 4.46 40. He is going to go down the field with a huge hit.
Wait a second.
Wait a minute. Oh, wait. I did get to play. I guess I just wanted to show off my drawing skills.
Your drawing's terrible. So
let's go to the play. Look at that. Oh, it looks the same, doesn't it?
No, it does not.
Watch Brecken Courage, 4.46 speed, make the hit. First play of the game, sets the tempo for Elk River. You know what? That pop, he got popped louder than anything Orville Redenbacher ever did. Let's talk about Elk sophomore quarterback Levi Harris. The famous ball on the hip play. Yeah. It's a famous staple in this offense.
That's
tough
what
to
Osterman
execute,
did
but harder
all
to
last
defend.
year. Yeah.
7-0 right there. But they had trouble with injuries. Levi Harris got injured. Their second string quarterback came in, Owen Van Drale. He also got injured in the second half. They were on their third string quarterback in the second half. But now let's talk about the game again.
How about Maxwell?
This is Maxwell. He's got the goods. Woods. It was 21-6 until he scored this 68-yard touchdown. He tells us he likes donuts. It doesn't look like it. No. Now the game is 28-21, and it's tied up with Braden Winchittle. Touchdown pass to Ty Jensen. Tied at 28. Great catch. We go to the fourth and 14 at the Elk River 25. Wow, what a perfect pass. They went for it. It's the game winner, 34-28 Storm in a thriller. Now, I have a shot of Coach Cullen Nelson of Chanhassen. This is before the game, okay? We both think he's one of the more passionate coaches in the game. Great coach, right?
Yes.
So after the game, I was interviewing him, and he was very emotional. He was in tears. And I kind of just thought it was because of their comeback in a thrilling game. But I set my camera down, and he kind of put his arm around me, and he started crying some more, and he said, Craig, I'm really emotional now because I lost my mom this past year, and she was at every game, and she was my biggest fan. Yeah. And it really just kind of struck me. He was just kind of opening up to me in this moment about his mom. Yeah. And he said it was very emotional as they were coming back, and he could kind of feel her with him as they were having this dramatic comeback. Mm-hmm. But in fact, we have a picture, Coach, with his mom here. Yeah. So this is Mary Nelson and Coach Nelson. And he told me she loved UNC Tar Heels. She grew up in Chapel Hill. She obviously was a huge Chan fan, his biggest fan. But she was also a Northfield Raiders fan. And if you look at the
that's
picture,
where he coached before,
yep,
right?
well, he played there. And if you look at this picture in the middle, he actually was part of a state championship team in 1997 with Northfield, and he told me a great story. When they had the game in hand in the fourth quarter, his mom, Mary, snuck down in the old Metrodome. She snuck out of the stands in the fourth quarter down to the sideline to
Who's going to stop her?
Yep, to give him a hug. So, Coach Nelson,
awesome.
I just want to thank you for trusting me to share that emotional moment after a great victory.
Yeah.
We'll be thinking of your mom, and I know she's got the best seat in the house for the rest of your season, which I think is going to be a good one based upon what I saw.
Yeah, which is also loaded with great opposing teams, as we talked about when we interviewed him before the game against Elk River. All right, so Elk River travels to Brainerd on Friday. That's going to be a great game. Chan will play at home against Owatonna, another outstanding matchup in 5A. It is rivalry week for some teams. Rockford's going to Piers. Blaine at Centennial, I would say, is the rivalry, and certainly Wayzata against Minnetonka. These two programs haven't played each other since the COVID season in 2020. They've split the last 8 meetings dating back to 2013. We saw Wayzata on Friday night at Lakeville South.
My second spotlight game of the week. Yeah, so Lakeville South, we're gonna talk. Let's get them up there.
Yep, some video.
Yep.
Here we go.
So we got the coaches.
There he is.
We got Ben Burke. We're going to talk about both coaches. Now after this game, he's 39-4 in his career. What a coach. And the other coach on the other sideline, Lambert Brown, our coach of the year in 2019, here giving some love to his quarterback, Cole Heilbrunn, who will be heard from in just a second. But Lakeville South on the board first. Quarterback Gavin Dean. Great step up in the pocket there. Nice pass. 41-yard TD to Jay Winters, 7-0. Heilbrunn, watch that quick release. See that quick release?
Yeah, it's great.
Tony Lay, 68 yards down to the 1. He gets down at the 1, which is significant because they're not going to get in. 4th and goal inside the 1, and they are absolutely stuffed. Nick Randall with the stuff there. South defense played very well. Now, 21-7 South, Wayzata kicking off. Watch where Connor Cade feels this ball. His leg's in the end zone. Look where the ball is.
His foot is in the end zone.
They call it a 99-yard kickoff return. I'm calling it 100.
And I'm wondering, would they also call it a touchback?
Well, it could have been, right?
Yeah.
But it's at least a 99 7/8 touchdown. That's what we're going to go with because it was also a school record. He broke the school record for distance.
Fabulous.
99 7/8. Lakeville South goes on to win the game, 41-27.
So it was a great way to start high school football last week, as you can tell. 2 really good games, 4 really good teams. Let's move on a little bit from last week and talk about a storyline that we have been talking about since Dan O'Brien made the switch, leaving St. Thomas Academy, going to Holy Family Catholic. Well, they snapped their 21-game losing streak in the opening night against Academy Force, 45-0. O'Brien, of course, with that all-star coaching staff of Dave Nelson and Jeff Ferguson and Jeff Maritko.
I know, and so this is one philosophical debate that you're willing to get into with me.
Sure.
Forget the mind reading, but we talked about, seriously, this legendary coaching staff, what effect could they have on a team that hasn't won a game in 2.5 years? And we have our first answer to that, right?
We do, and I had a chance to talk with Dan after that game. Was it as fun as you thought it would be to win that first game at Holy Family?
It was nerve-wracking, to be honest with you. You know, I felt a lot of pressure about it, but it was truly it was a lot of fun. And you know, Fergs and Nelly and I, we've all 3 of us have been fortunate to have been in some big games in the past, and you know, state championship games, and we all agreed that this one kind of matched right up there with those kind of games as well.
Well, congratulations for that win, but it doesn't get any easier because they go to Dassel Cokato on Friday night, so that's going to be a heck of a test.
Well, what did we learn from that experiment? Well, in week 1, we say that apparently coaching does matter, at least a little bit.
Sure it does.
Well, sure it does. But
and
so
it also helps when 61 kids show up and you weren't expecting to have that that number
And it looked
show
like,
up too. So good for
according
them.
to the game highlights, they had some speed on that team.
They
so
did.
I am looking forward to, week one.
We'll see
Check
what
mark
happens
coaches. Let's go.
in Dassel this week. All right, we saw a crazy start to the football
my
season.
goodness.
Here's a perfect example. This is Woodbury and Roseville to start the football season.
I have seen thousands of games in my lifetime. I've never seen this.
So here we go. This is the opening kickoff. This is Quentin Cobb Butler. He's going to go 90 yards on the kickoff return for a touchdown to give Woodbury the 7-0 lead, okay? So then Woodbury has to kick off to Roseville.
Yep.
And Roseville's got a guy named Javon Miner. He's number 7. And watch what happens. He's going to take this kickoff against Woodbury, and he's going to go
distance?
93 yards for a touchdown.
Okay.
This is to open the football game.
Yes. It can't get any weirder,
The
right?
offense and the defense haven't been on the field yet.
Yeah.
Okay. So now Roseville's going to kick off to Woodbury.
Oh, there's
now,
no
you
way
would
they're gonna kick
think-
it to him. No
You
way.
would think we're not going to kick it to Quentin again,
No.
right? Well, they do.
They do.
Why would you do that? Well, this is what
It
happens
looks like
when
the
you
same
do it.
exact play.
I've never seen this in 40 years of high school football coverage.
Back to back to back.
Back to back to back kickoff returns for a touchdown, and I had a chance to talk to Quentin about all that.
Jeez.
After last year, I wasn't really expecting a lot of kicks to get kicked deep. And once I saw it in the air, I was pretty surprised. And our coaches all week were saying if they kick it deep to one of us, we'll return it. And I went to the left a little bit, and it was planned to go to the right, and then went right. And I just saw a huge hole, and there's just the kicker in front of me, and I beat him to the outside, and then got to the outside and scored.
So then they return a kickoff for a touchdown, and then they kick off to you. Were you surprised they kicked it back to you?
Yeah, I thought they would squib it or do an onside kick to get momentum. They had a good amount of people there, so I thought they were going to kick it short, try to get the ball back, and they kicked it in the air, and I was like, let's try to do that again. And basically the same thing happened, and it was just me and the kicker to the outside. And after the first one, I knew I could beat him to the outside, and he almost got me, and I stumbled a little bit on the sideline and tiptoed on the sideline, stayed up and scored.
He's a fabulous player. He also caught a touchdown pass in that game for Woodbury as well.
Well, it's funny.
Woodbury won the game.
When you watch those kickoffs again, he said there's a lot of people there.
Yeah.
You can hear the crowd is really loud. And they kick off to him, and he's running, and all of a sudden it just, and it starts to wane. And the second time he gets the ball, they're into it again because they just tied the game, and the crowd's loud, and all of a sudden he starts taking off, and the crowd just like,
And that's
they just
kind of the way it
deflate.
was. Yeah, I know. It was it was a really good football game to open the season. And of course, Roseville's got a new head coach there too. So it was a very exciting start, obviously, to the high school football season. There's another kid that we've been keeping an eye on, Kyjon Cummings Coleman for Coon Rapids. Last Thursday, 9 catches, 252 yards, 3 touchdowns. Here's some video of Kyjon in the game against
28
Centennial.
yards a catch he's averaging with that. Okay, this is him on the bottom on the outside. He's going to do the Randy Moss. Watch him put up the arm. Hey, throw it here. I'm open. I'm open. And guess what? What happens?
Well, he was open, kind of, between 2 defenders. You know what? Kyjon had 3 touchdowns in this game. They covered 47, 63, and 69 yards. Now, they lost the game against Centennial, but he kept the Cardinals in it. A monster night for the senior, regarded as the top wide receiver in Minnesota, and he is a coach's dream. He's going to make you look like a smart coach.
He's going to make me look like a very smart football coach, and that's what I'm excited about for him.
I mean, he'd make anybody look smart.
Yes.
You get the ball in his hands, right?
Yeah, sometimes, you get into your X's and O's and you're watching film, and sometimes just get number 2 the ball, man. What are we doing? Just find ways to get him the ball and make us look good. So we're excited about that.
It's kind of like the Randy ratio, when Randy Moss was playing for the Vikings and Mike Tyson, the Randy ratio. The ratio was get him the ball.
Right. And
just get the ball in his hand.
But here we have the chicken and egg. So we just talked about Holy Family and the impact that the Magna coaches are having on that team. Now here's Nick Russin saying, well, he makes me look like a great coach. So
he should.
Player, coach, chicken, egg, whatever. But, Kyjon also has 8 school records in football, basketball, and track. That's not a mystery when you look at him run.
And right now he is not committed yet to a college. So hopefully hopefully there'll be a school out there that'll look at that and say, oh my gosh, we've got to have that kid on our football team. Totino Grace moved from Class 6A to 4A, where they belong due to enrollment. The last 5 years in 6A, they finished 15 and 29. Back-to-back 1-8 seasons, but so far in 4A, after they've moved down, they are 1-0. They beat their rival Fridley last Friday, and now they get to travel to play the defending 4A champions.
And Totino began opting up in 2011 in class. And it took him
Jeff Ferguson was the head coach then.
Now with Holy Family.
Right.
When they began opting up, they actually won a state title in 2016 in Class A. So they do have
Class
some.
6A.
I'm sorry, they won a Class 6A in 2016 against Eden Prairie.
Right.
And they do have the back class, the school as a program in general.
Yeah, so they're very, very good. They're going to go to Simley on Friday night to face the defending state champions. Simley opened with a win for their football season with Gerard Jones, their running back, on a touchdown run right here. So Simley is off and running. They beat Winona to open the season. And I talked with head coach Chris Menson recently about facing the 4A power now in Totino Grace.
They look tough. I mean, I've seen them a little bit online, and I understand that maybe their record wasn't great the last couple of years, but I also have the mentality that a 6A team is a very different animal than a 4A team. They're going to be, I see them as being one of the top teams in 4A, just based on who they are. They're a very talented program. They've got great coaching, year in, year out. They've got kids that compete at a high level and they play hard. They're only a few years off of a state championship at both 6A and 5A. So they're going to be a tough team. And the nice part is, realistically, if we take our lumps early on, it's not going to hurt down the road. We're still going to have our section. We're still going to have playoffs and have an opportunity to, get through the sections if we can and still make that state berth. But we'll definitely know who we are by week 3.
For sure, because they opened against Winona. They get Totino Grace this Friday night, and then next week they'll play Fridley. So they've got 3 games that will test them in 4A to start the year.
And winning that 4A championship last year was super impressive, and they went 12-1, and their only loss was when they went to play 5A power Matamidi.
Right.
So.
And they beat Hutch in the state championship.
And they beat Hutch, which
is amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So congratulations to Chris. We'll be covering that Totino Grace and Simley game on Friday night.
Can we talk about one of my favorites now?
We certainly can. Friday night's going to be super special in Becker.
This
the
guy
living
is great.
legend, Dwight Lundeen. They're going to rename the football stadium after Dwight.
So
He's
appropriate.
in year 54. Take a look at the new field. It's beautiful. It's going to be called officially Eppard Field at Dwight Lundeen Stadium, sponsored by EMR. Here are the changes. Multi-use turf field set up for football, soccer, lacrosse, a new scoreboard, video scoreboard, new lighting, new ticket booth at the main entrance. The total cost of this, $1.6 million. Wow. So well deserved for Dwight and Becker football. It's a true testament to the support this program and Dwight has on the community. And I talked to Dwight about just him in general. Take a listen. Oh, I'm sorry. Dwight Lundeen, the coach, first.
Let's show him. Well,
yeah, my fault.
He's the second winningest prep football coach in Minnesota history with 391 wins over 53 plus years, this being year number 54. He moved into second place last season, passing the living legend Ron Stolsky. Dwight trails Mike Malin of Verndale by 27 wins.
Yeah, and as I said, and my fault, he's starting year 54. And I asked him back in April, do you have any plans to slow down? So you're how old right now?
76.
What are you doing?
It's just a number.
How long are you going to coach?
I just talked at the FCA breakfast and they asked how long you've been doing it. And honestly, I've been a head coach for 7 decades. In the 60s it started, so I was a head coach in the 60s. No, I feel great. The Lord has blessed me with great health. I have a wonderful wife that will put up with all of this running around, but it's a labor of love, for sure, and it's a goal versus purpose. My goal is to win every football game, but my purpose is so much greater than that, and as long as I think I can impact our community and our school in a positive way with these young men, I'll keep doing it, and I really enjoy it.
I can tell you this, Dwight didn't ask the field to be named after him. That's a referendum on the impact he's made in the Becker community, and I hope that that's forever.
We all hope that's forever.
Right.
All right, so that's one of the games that we're going to be covering on Friday night in the Prep Sports Extra, Providence Academy at Becker. You'll also see some of the other matchups there. Lakeville North at Rosemount, two teams that got off to great starts. They're 1-0. We'll be there for that game. And then 4A Ricori traveling to Class 3A Minneapolis North. And we talked about this last week, Craig, that Coach Adams, they just don't shy away from anybody. They go to Holy Angels last week.
A
They
4A team, 41-14, they beat
Yeah.
Holy Angels last
And
week.
now
a
they
4A
get
team.
Ricori, who actually lost their opening game, I believe, against Detroit Lakes, but
they're
still very good.
They're a 4A powerhouse, I would
Right.
consider still. So it's essentially jumping up 2 classes, being a 2A team last year.
Yeah.
They're bold. I love it.
Yeah, so that'll be a 6 o'clock start at Minneapolis North. You could argue that the top quarterback sub-district in the state, in the Metro, is the Metro East in Class 6A. You've got the transfer, Nick Kinsey, at Stillwater. He's being recruited by a bunch of teams. He's only a sophomore. Woodbury has the 3-year starter in George Bajelis. And Eastridge has the top-rated QB in Minnesota in Tanner Zolnowski. He isn't tall. He's 6 foot. He's 185 pounds, but he's a 3-year starter with a ton of experience to go with a strong arm, and I would argue a commanding presence. Zolnowski threw for 2,900 yards last year, 27 touchdowns, the most in 6A. And I talked with Tanner and his head coach, Dan Fritzy, about expectations and what this fall could bring. What does it feel like to be the number 1 rated quarterback in Minnesota?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that as a 6th grade kid looking forward, watching East Ridge. And I mean, we had Zach Zabrowski when I was younger. He was an awesome quarterback. And I just, it's a dream come true. Where to be in the spot I am right now, it's honestly like surreal sometimes because like I said, and that's why high school sports is so great. You grow up in a community, you dream to be on a Raptor on the field, and to be a senior in high school to me is unbelievable. But I've worked for it. So this is what I've wanted to do and manifested it. And this is the life I wanted to live since I was 10. So wouldn't regret it. Wouldn't take anything back.
I think that it's unmatched what he has as far as his football IQ. It's something different. I mean, this is a kid who studies pass protections and defenses more than he studies offense. And that's just rare. And the work he puts in, it is really rubbing off on our other kids, and they see that, and they're following his lead. And so it's his leadership and his dedication to the game that makes him special.
Coming into this season, it's my last season. I mean, if we lose our 9th game of the season, I'm done playing high school. So, I mean, that pressure is obviously, in the back of my head, but I try to not let it affect me. I try to just focus on what I'm doing each day at practice, what we got in the week, and I try to not let that affect me as much as I can. But no, I know it's there. It's good to have it there. It keeps me on my toes, keeps me pushing even harder. So it's a good thing to have that, but I don't let it affect me much. I had the Pitt quarterback coach tell me last summer that if I was 6'2", I would have 40 offers. That's what he told me. So that, to hear that and to tell me that I can play, but just because I'm a certain height that you can't offer me. But it's the same thing with the pressure. I can't let it affect me. It's a thing that makes me want to do it even more and prove all the coaches that didn't offer me because I was 5'10", 5'11", that, they made the wrong choice.
And that's really what's holding him back from getting a major Division I offer is his height. He's barely 6 foot tall. And so
Drew Brees wasn't tall.
No, there's a lot of examples out there of quarterbacks who aren't very tall that have gone on to have great careers. And I hope the best for this kid because he's a hardworking guy. He's very humble, very appreciative of the opportunities he's had. And obviously, Eastridge relies on him heavily. Well, and they will on Thursday night.
And head coach Dan Fritzy is just saying it's unmatched what he has as far as football IQ. That says a lot in itself.
Absolutely, absolutely. So here's some of the Thursday night games that we'll keep an eye on for. Stillwater is at Woodbury, so you're going to see Kinsey against Bajelis in that football game. Mounds View at White Bear Lake, and here's what I love about that matchup.
Wow.
The Reach brothers, they're twins, will be on opposite sidelines at White Bear Lake. Let's take a look. Here they are. These are the twins, Rob and Russ. Rob is the principal at Mounds View High School. Russ is the new principal at White Bear Lake. Not only do their football teams square off Thursday night, but the brothers will broadcast together the stream of the game. And I had a chance to talk with them about Thursday's big matchup.
Oh my God.
We're still working out who's going to be kind of the play-by-play and who's going to do the color. And I'll try not to step on his toes. I just know that he's going to interrupt me when White Bear's scoring a touchdown.
I absolutely want us to play well and win. There's no question. And I can't wait to have a touchdown call that he can't step on.
We've been competitive with each other our whole life. And we're also, our biggest supporters of one another. So having the chance to do this as principals together is really pretty special. We're looking forward to it.
And here's the thing, when I said to him, I go, you guys sound alike. I mean, you're going to have to say, this is Russ talking and this is Rob talking, because the people are not going to be able to tell who's talking.
This qualifies as the you can't make this up category, like a fiction novel, because, well, first of all, how do I get this stream? When I'm covering my Spotlight game in Andover?
It's on the Mounds View YouTube page.
I want an earpiece so I can listen to this as I'm covering the Andover game. They're also like border districts, so it's like a border rivalry, too.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's a great story, and there's a lot of crossover with Russ's wife is a Mounds View grad, and just a lot of that stuff.
Man,
so it's going to be a fun game
follow up on
Thursday night. Well, this summer we got a chance to talk to 16 Metro football coaches about a variety of topics. And one thing that I was curious about is it easier or harder to get kids in this day and age to buy into football when you consider the amount of work that you have to put in during the off season?
Well, and when you're talking about an off season, it really isn't even an off season anymore.
That's
even
right.
at the high school level, these kids are so focused and in on what the end goal. They put in the work. But just really quickly about the coaches. You and I do this 2 days in the summer, and it's one of my favorite events of the year when we interview these coaches over 2 days, because it's like literally unlocking a bank vault of wealth of information. Like you open the door and it floods you with this treasure of information, some of it off the record. You learn a lot of stuff. So this is where we get that from, what the coaches are about to say about the buy-in.
Yeah, so check this out. This is the coaches talking about the buy-in for football.
But I think a lot of kids nowadays do want instant gratification, and football is like the exact opposite. It is you have to put time in the off season, in the winter, and then into the summer, and then into the fall is when you kind of will see that instant gratification. I think athletes have sort of changed because I think the environment has changed for them.
Now we want the instant gratification. If we don't get it right now, it's on our phone or we have it delivered. We don't have to go get anything. We don't have to work at anything. So I think it's harder now, but you still get kids coming out, and I love them for it. When we tell them every day, I'm so glad you're here, because you could be on the couch or whatever.
Is it easier to get kids in this day and age to buy in to football, which is not instant gratification?
For sure, yeah. I personally think it is, because I think it's all about connection and energy and how much fun can you have. Are we going to get after it? Absolutely, right? Is it going to get intense? Are there things that we need to get done? Is it a physical, tough, demanding sport? 100%. But at the end of the day, if we can have fun with it and it can be energetic and kind of loud and exciting, then kids are going to want to come out and play, and we can connect with them on a kind of a bigger basis, even more than we ever have.
I think that this generation gets a bad rap. I think they are way more capable, way better, and way more mature than they get credit for. All I know is our kids buy in. And the reason that they buy in is because it's been something that has been established by our kids, our leaders. And so when we bring in our leaders and we put them through a leadership curriculum every year, we really push hard the fact that you are responsible for carrying on this culture.
Is it tougher today to get kids to buy in to football in this day and age than maybe 10 years ago, 20 years ago?
See, I think kids are kids. I do. You treat them in a way where you're respecting them as kids and things like that. I think they will buy into it.
Yeah, I mean, kids still want to be part of stuff, right? I mean, that part's easy. And we get kids who I mean, we have every football team. Probably you have big numbers, and a lot of these kids aren't great football players. Some of them aren't good football players. Let's just call it what it is, right? But they want to be part of something. So that's easy to get kids to buy in, and I want to be part of a team, and running out of that tunnel on Friday night, and those things are awesome. I think it's tougher to just always to develop that us first thing, right?
And football is a special thing where you work close to year round to ensure that you're ready for Friday nights, and you only get 9 of them guaranteed in 6A football. So for kids to have to show up, to work, to see the ups and downs of their training, for just those few opportunities, it's a special deal.
When you get that buy-in and they feel like they're a part of something that's important, and it just keeps growing and becoming more of a big deal.
I still think, God, football's great. And I say that as a coach, and I played them all, but I always tell kids, I'm like, man, you get 80 kids together on a field at one time that are your buddies, and you get to do this all the time. I go, that's a lot of work to get them in your basement to throw a party, and you're getting probably arrested anyway. And so how don't you buy in? I mean, you get a chance to be around a group of kids every day you kind of get a party every day. And I know, yeah, it's intense and it's hard, but God, you become great friends, and you get to become a family, and you do things, and the parents get to be friends, and it's such a great community thing that I think the buy-in is just taking time to appreciate how blessed you are every day to get to do this. It's why at the end of high school games and it's the end of those seasons, you see those kids crying, because it is unique. It is unique. And so I still think you can get kids to buy in because it's awesome.
Don't disagree with that.
So I love that we had Maple Grove coach Matt Lombardi at the end, because that truly is essentially sums it up. Like, rather than the basement party where you're going to get arrested, being a part of a football team is genuinely like a party every day where you become great friends, you become a family, and the buy-in is just taking the time to appreciate the blessing of getting to do that.
Yeah.
Money.
Pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool. All right, we have our first hot highlights choices for the football season. Here we go. You can vote on this on KARE11.com. Here's the first one, and you've seen it already. Quentin Cobb Butler, the first of 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns. He is out of Woodbury. That's hot highlight number 1.
And the second one was one you already saw. It's a school record 99 7/8 yard touchdown return by Lakeville South junior Connor Cade. Broke the school record against Wayzata Friday night. Watch Cade take it to the house. That's hot highlight number 2.
And hot highlight number 3 is yet another kickoff return for a touchdown. Yes, here's a theme. Andover's Obi Iefa against St. Thomas Academy to open the football game. What a way to kick off 2023. That is hot highlight number 3. The rest is up to you. You have until Friday at 3 o'clock to vote for your favorite on KARE11.com, and I'll reveal the winner on the Prep Sports Extra at 10:15 on KARE on Friday night. Some Saturday matchups to take a look at. Holy Angels at Richfield, it's an 11 a.m. start, and there's a tradition between these two schools that the visiting team will walk to the other team's field along the train tracks between Holy Angels and Richfield. So Holy Angels
far is that?
will be, not very far, we'll be walking the train tracks around 9 o'clock, 9:30 on Saturday morning for that football game, and there's a few other games on the schedule. All right, now it's time for our Weeble Winner of the Week.
Do they shut down the trains, I hope, for that?
I think they do.
Okay.
I don't know.
So
nobody's getting run over by a train, I know that.
Okay. Well, speaking of getting run over, when we're talking
Here
about
we go.
Weebles, the 1971 invention, this egg-shaped delight,
right there,
once released, is restored by gravity to an upright position. Now, to win the Weeble of the Week award, you have to simulate this action. Simply refuse to go down.
All right.
Week 1 did not produce an effort worthy of Weebleism.
Oh boy.
Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down.
So I couldn't find a winner, unfortunately. So I'm putting out the bulletin, the request for uprighticism. Please, we need someone to stay upright. But in the meantime, in order to get a Weeble of the Week winner, we went to the archives to get a winner.
Okay.
Hey, hey, look at me and Weeble.
And we're going retro again. We're going to the archives of going retro. This week's Weeble of the Week winner from 2013 is Lee Valsvik. KARE 11 Saturday reporter, also Cool 108 radio voice.
She's going to the Minnesota Broadcasting Hall of Fame
She gets the Weeble because there was an incident.
No, not you.
There was an incident.
Oh my goodness.
There was an incident in 2013 where she did go down, but she gets Weeble of the Week winner because she popped right back up.
She did get back up.
She got right back up from this.
That's you running her over.
Wait a minute, that is me.
That is you running over Lee Valsvik.
You know what? This was the problem with this is this was a day that the Vikings played the Packers in the playoffs. No one should have been giving me a football. I should not have had a football in my arms with the adrenaline I had surging through my body on a day that the Vikings were playing the Packers in the playoffs. That was the first mistake. But congratulations, Lee, on being so tough.
Lord, you just like ran her smooth over.
Congratulations, Lee. You're so tough. She's a great friend. Oh, by the way, she's getting into the...
I said this already.
She's getting inducted into the Minnesota Broadcasters Hall of Fame. Yes, you know something about that.
She deserves to get into the Weeble Hall of Fame for that hit.
Well, we might have to set up a Weeble Hall of Fame.
Oh, my gosh.
Congratulations, Lee.
All right, Lee. Well, you made the show. Boy, that's a highlight of your career. It has to be. All right, that's it for this show. Reminder, the Prep Sports Extra, 10:15 on KARE Friday night, 11 o'clock on cable, YouTube, KARE11.com, and KARE 11 Plus. What do you got? What?
Birthdays are great, aren't they?
Yeah, what do you... Okay, I don't know whose birthday it is.
Whoever has a birthday today.
All right. Enjoy the football on Friday night. We'll see you next week.